North Carolina is the 6th most visited state in the United States of America. It's because of where we are and because of what we have to offer.
In 2010, North Carolinians spent over $16 billion in the hospitality industry. Back in 1947, the year that the North Carolina Restaurant Association was formed, that total was only $2.5 million.
Everybody talks about Twitter and Facebook, but the social thing for decades has been going out to restaurants and seeing your friends and meeting new people as well. I mean, that's an important factor. And it was kind of lonely out there with not all the cable TV and not all the entertainment that you have and the fine movies and stuff like that we went through. So going out to see people and interacting, I think had some very favorable psychological effects on a big portion of the public.
While we North Carolinians love to cook at home and be with family, sometimes it's good to get out and let someone else do the work. In 1955, we spent about 25% of our food dollar in restaurants. Today, that figure has nearly doubled.
The food and the service, that's the basis for being successful.
They want to relax, they want to see friends, and that's a big part of the restaurant industry.
They're coming out to a restaurant to be waited on. And that means from the beginning to the end, from the minute you drive into the parking lot to the minute you drive out, you should feel like you are being totally pampered.
There are those who think starting a restaurant can't be that hard. Those who have tried will tell you a different story. It takes a special type of character to overcome all the challenges that come with trying to start a successful restaurant.
The very year we started was the year that we began to have the highest inflation for food products we'd ever seen. And we originally were buying what's called boxed beef, and we were paying $1 a pound when we opened up in January '73. By September of that year, that product had gone to $3 a pound. We'd never been in the industry, never had managed a business like we were doing, and so my partner and I, we had 2 out of our first 3 restaurants losing money, and we were very lucky to be able to survive that.
We had an idea that we felt like would work. A lot of people didn't, but it was the Angus barn.
They said they were absolutely crazy. Number one, they knew nothing about running a restaurant. They knew nothing about cooking. And who's going to drive that far to go eat?
Our friends and friends of our parents saying, don't let those boys ruin their lives, going way out there in the middle of nowhere, the boondocks.
The banks would not even loan the money to build a restaurant because they said a restaurant this far out would never be successful.
I got a telephone call at 7:15 in the morning, and the word was the barn's on fire.
I remember I was in 3rd grade, and all of a sudden, you know, just fire, we heard it. We didn't know if our own house was on fire or what, and all of a sudden, you know, my father was running out the door.
And it was a goner. I mean, the fire was coming through the roof, and then the roof, just after I got there, the roof collapsed. So.
I remember the night that someone tried to ride a horse in the back door of our restaurant. Few gentlemen had decided to go for a night ride on their horses, and I think they had imbibed a little too much. They came to the back door, and someone opened the back door, and sure enough, one of these guys got his horse's head under the back door, was going to ride into the kitchen before we got them shooed back out again. And we called the police, and nobody ever saw anything else about a horse or a rider, so I feel sure to this day they thought we made it all up. There really was a horse and a rider that tried to ride in our kitchen. So.
walk in one night and my partner saying something to our grill man who had the grill loaded up with steaks, aligned to the door waiting to get in, says something to the grill man. The grill man says, "You think you can do it better?" And my partner said, "Well, I'm pretty good." He said, "Great." Rolls up his apron, throws it into the flames, walks out the door. My partner and I are left with irate people for the rest of the evening because it demolished about 50 steaks that were on the grill.
The very first night Kelly's was getting ready to open, and all of a sudden a thunderstorm was coming through. And we have some roof windows, like skylights, that were operable. And all of a sudden one of the skylights just burst up. And so all of a sudden it comes up and this rain is just gushing down. It's gushing down right in the lobby of the restaurant. And everybody's standing there looking at it, and I'm across the room. I run over, get a ladder, put it up, run up there, and I'm running out, and I'm just getting soaking wet, and I pull the thing down. And I let out a litany out of frustration and just everything of 4-letter words. And my mother, I looked down the ladder, and my mother is at the bottom taking some furniture polish and getting the water off a piece of furniture in the lobby, and she says, "I think Mike's a little upset."
We were able to hire 2 crews, and we rebuilt in just a year, under a year, because of the 2 crews and everybody going full time.
Had we not gotten the other 2 profitable soon enough, we might have gone away. Once we had 4 profitable restaurants, our system did kind of carry itself, and we had 15 years that we just grew pretty rapidly and had very, very few financial challenges.
In addition to the internal challenges that restaurateurs face, there are external factors such as legislative issues that can have a big impact. In 1978, the hot topic was liquor by the drink.
I'm opposed to liquor by the drink because I've lived in Atlanta, and I don't want a bar on every street corner in our town, so I'm going to vote no.
That's going to increase drunken drivers in the city, and it's unsafe. I'm just going to vote no against liquor by the drink.
Well, when I came to Raleigh, we had a brown bagging law where people could take a bottle of whiskey in a brown bag and go into a restaurant with a brown bagging permit and drink. And what happened is that people would drink the whole bottle because they weren't supposed to have an open bottle in the car.
And the first liquor by the drink was poured in Asheville, North Carolina. And I happened to be a fellow student of the gentleman that was the bartender that poured the first liquor by the drink in North Carolina. Of course, we had to show the community at large that we were going to be responsible, and it's up to our industry to make sure that it's properly taken care of and properly handled and properly served. And I think the opposition originally was concerned that our industry was not going to be able to do that, but I think we've been able to prove them wrong.
One after that, of course, that we worked with for 4 years was the smoking ban. And the challenge there is when it first came out, the legislators wanted to have a ban just in restaurants.
An effort to ban smoking in public places like restaurants and bars moving forward in the state legislature.
Heated reaction today from bar and restaurant owners about that new smoking ban that cleared the House.
Through the 8 years or so I've been involved with the association, it's probably been the single biggest issue that came up that I ever witnessed. And there was heavy debate on both sides. You know, it was kind of old guard versus new guard. One of our board meetings was hours and hostile. You know, we had to take a few breaks, step away, cool both sides down. Our stance was we didn't want to have competitive advantage. So if we had a restaurant in one neighborhood and a private club or a bar next door or across the street, we didn't want to have an unfair playing field where they could have smokers pull potentially business from our restaurants to go over there to smoke. And hasn't caused a whole lot of effect on the consumer. Those who want to smoke will still smoke and find a way to do so where it doesn't affect anybody else.
Coming into the 90s, the NCRLA had a lot of things going for it. A strong trade show, a valuable workers' comp program, and effective legislative representatives.
But what happened over a short period of time, due to the changing markets, is the trade show, both the trade show and the workers' comp program, both had a falling out. That put extreme amount of stress on the organization. No one quite saw it coming, and the fact that they were back-to-back really was difficult. When I came on board, we had a small office. I had 2 staffers and had a lobbyist in T. Jerry, which I said was very invaluable. And we needed to turn things around, and we needed to bring new people. So over time, all the positions were replaced, and there was some financial hardships and some organizational things that needed to be done.
We were able to get that on the table and get it fixed by good leadership from our board of directors and through Paul's expertise as our chief executive officer.
At first, even my standpoint was, why are we doing this?
When North Carolina Hotel and Motel Association stopped existing, we had no statewide representation.
And it took kind of some more introspection to look at, okay, these guys are fighting a lot of the same issues that we're fighting. We're very similar. We're hospitality driven. Most of these hotels actually have restaurants or some kind of restaurant involved with them. And they're hospitality focused, and they're all about they're discretionary income focused, and they're anchors in our community. So I quickly became sold on the reasons were enough to justify taking them over.
Joe McInerney, who's still the president of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, came to North Carolina, met with a couple of key operators in the state of North Carolina, and said, "Why don't we see if this is something that we could make work?" The North Carolina Restaurant Association opened their arms to the hospitality industry and said, here's a chance for us to join forces and combine. Now we are the hospitality industry. This is a lobbying arm for restaurateurs and hoteliers in the state of North Carolina.
It seemed to be a natural fit. We already had the infrastructure in place, and really seemed like a wonderful opportunity to get some more critical mass to speak for the hospitality industry in North Carolina, not limiting ourselves to the restaurant industry.
I think the hotels have tremendous upside. You'll see a tremendous growth on an NCRLA side from hotels in the next couple of years.
And we're very proud of the fact that the hoteliers are with us at every step of the way as far as we continue to represent our industry in this state.
With the addition of lodging, the NCRA became the NCRLA. Its core mission is to protect, promote, inform, and improve the restaurant and lodging industries in North Carolina.
What was really valuable about the North Carolina Restaurant Association is that it put me in touch with other restaurateurs. And our industry, I later learned, is a very sharing industry.
Mickey was one of the first guys to put our beer on tap in his restaurants. And people would always ask him, why do you have your competitor's beer on tap? He said, it's not my competitor, it's my friend.
First of all, the Restaurant Association helps me in every way because it's there for me. I can't run this restaurant and really work and fight for things that we need politically. I can't do that, I can't do both. So the Restaurant Association does that for us.
It gives us that opportunity so that we can focus on running our individual businesses, because we know they're out there on the front lines for us, helping us fight those battles.
The association gave me an opportunity to associate myself with people that were professional and were a cut above the rest, because they teamwork together. You could ask questions, and even today I still pick up the phone and I can call any of the board members that are on the board, and if I have a question or a concern about my industry, there's someone I can call, and that's because of the association and my ability to be a part of that association.
So, with more than 10% of North Carolina's jobs, the hospitality industry is a major economic factor. In fact, it is projected that by 2021, the industry will create over 56,000 new jobs.
Sometimes the restaurant business doesn't get a lot of respect in terms of the type of jobs that people perceive that we have. Burger flippers. But you know what? How many people do you know that started out working in restaurants and either stuck, like me, made it a career and grew and developed throughout their career within the business, or that passed through but learned something along the way?
So many of the entry-level jobs are in the restaurant industry. And so so many young people have their first job they ever have in this industry. So it's real important that we in the industry recognize that, try to be a good employer for entry-level people, let them have a good experience in the first job they ever had. And, you know, a lot of them will stay in the industry or stay in hospitality or lodging as a career. And obviously our state being a state with lots of tourism from the mountains to the coast, I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
The restaurant industry in this state and in this country is so vital to our economy. I mean, we're still growing and adding jobs, our industry, and I don't know too many industries that can say that right now.
The hospitality industry has thrived, has grown, and has become an economic engine for our state. It generates tax dollars, and it also generates jobs. You know, and in the economic environment that we're in right now, we need things that will create jobs, and our industry is creating jobs.
We play a vital role in both tourism and also for business here in the state. We accept all types of individuals in our industry, and I think that's important in these economic times, that we can provide work opportunities, job opportunities for folks at all age levels.
From the mountains to the coast, North Carolina is a great place to visit and a great place to dine out with your friends and family. Fortunately, it's an engine of our economy that's driven by a love of family, friends, and having a good time. And those things are not about to change.